The following video has got all the information you need to know going into Game Week 6. Alright, we're going to start off this video like we do with all the videos in this series by going through the top players by position for expected points according to DraftHound. Goalkeepers first then, and we've got Ederson top of the list. Forest at home. Obviously, a really good fixture for Man City, and they're heavily backed, of course, to keep a clean sheet. Sanchez versus Aston Villa at home is in second place. 3.6 expected points, the same as Alisson, followed by Pope, Flecken, Jose Sarr, Johnston, Onana, Ramsdale, and Verbruggen. Estupiñán tops the list for defenders this week. Personally, it's nice to see from my perspective because he's remained in my team. I just benched him in Game Week 5. He obviously didn't play in Game Week 5. Hopefully that's nothing to worry about and he'll be back fighting fit for Bournemouth at home. 5.7 expected points for him. Trippier, Ruben Diaz and Robertson top out the top 4. Robertson, he might be a popular buy this game week for his goal against Wolves, but I think the only reason that he was so advanced to score the goal against Wolves was because there was no Trent in the team. Obviously, Joe Gomez is in no way near in terms of Trent, in terms of, attacking stats. So Robertson would have been the fullback that pushed up and Gomez would have been the fullback that obviously stayed back. And obviously, when Trent is on the pitch, he's the one that pushes up and Robertson is usually the one that stays back. So I wouldn't get too carried away with the fact that he scored against Wolves. I think if you're looking to pick a Liverpool defender, which probably isn't the time to do so yet, I'd probably look for Trent still over Robertson. Chilwell, he's got a couple last chances in my team, basically. It's a real shame to see him dropped against Bournemouth. And, well, Pochettino's comments suggesting that he's the first, well, not the first choice left winger. He will likely play left wing rather than left back, and Colwell will play left back. It's all very confusing what's going on in that Chelsea team at the moment. I'd be very disappointed if Chilwell basically didn't start against Aston Villa, but I don't think there's any reason I can get rid of him at the moment. Walker, Anderson, Ake, Akanji and Shah round out the defenders. On then to the midfield, and we're back to normal now. Heung-min Son isn't even in sight for expected points. We've got Mo Salah, West Ham at home, top in the list. Now, he's returned in every single game so far this season. I think he is sort of proven worth in that 12.5 million price tag. It's just, can you justify owning him if you're not going to captain him? That's the big question with Salah. Mitoma in second, followed by Saka, Foden. Pascal Gross, he always just seems to be amongst the returns every season, but he's never a player that people really go out there and pick. Obviously came away with a goal against Man United, dropped to 6.3 million, obviously started the season at 6.5. Obviously his returns came against Man United. Is he a good option going forward? Let me know in the comments. Rashford, Mbeumo, Sterling, March and Odegaard round out the midfield. On now to the forwards, and it's of course no surprise to see who tops the list. Haaland, 9.1 expected points against Forest at home. The fixture that he played against West Ham, he amassed over 2 expected goals, missed a couple of big chances, obviously came away with a single goal. I'd expect him, well, to score 1 goal at a minimum against Forest. I reckon he could come away easily with 2 or 3. Julian Alvarez, he seems to be a really good option this season. As always, though, with those sort of fringe, well, I wouldn't call him a fringe player, he's been playing pretty much the most minutes of any Man City player so far this season, but there's just always a chance with Man City outfield players outside of like Haaland, maybe Diaz. There's always a chance that they get benched, and I think with them playing Champions League midweek, I expect Alvarez to play in that game. Well, certainly that will define basically whether Alvarez is going to play for the weekend, I would suggest. Yeah, wait and see on the Champions League game, I'd suggest, before bringing him in. Isaac, Edouard's another player I wanted to talk about, actually. He's banging form so far this season. 5.5 million, really good value. Can you justify bringing him in ahead of Morris, another player at that price, who of course has a double game week in Game Week 7, the next game week? Jackson, I think if you've got him, unfortunately, you probably should hold on to him. I mean, he's still got some decent fixtures coming up, and I reckon most people probably have a player they'd rather take out. The fact that Nicholas Jackson is still in the Chelsea team and coming up with chances probably means you should keep him. João Pedro is a bit of a sell for me. I know that he's scored against Man United, but his minutes, risks and rotation, just too much for me to be having him in my team. Gabriel Jesus, Wissa, Watkins and Ferguson round out the forwards. I'm just going to interrupt myself quickly to mention that nearly 87% of people that watch this channel are not currently subscribed. I really appreciate it if you're enjoying the video so far to hit the subscribe button down below. All right, back to the video. Quick look then at the captaincy. For me this week is a bit of a no-brainer. There are some weeks where you could challenge Haaland. Certainly game week 5 was one of those, and it proved obviously what happens when it doesn't go right for you. However, game week 6, I think it's just completely obvious that you go for Haaland really. Nottingham Forest at home is a plum fixture, absolutely bang on. We'll see, well, hopefully get some Man City leaks because they're the first kickoff on the Saturday. They kick off at 3 PM on Saturday, so we'll hopefully get some leaks to prove that Haaland is starting. Salah, Matoma, Alvarez, Saka, Foden round out the rest of the players. For me this week, it's a straight, easy Haaland captain. But let me know in the comments if you're planning to go different. Clean sheet odds then, and as always with these clean sheet odds, I look at teams above 30%. Any teams really below 30%, I wouldn't suggest starting their defenders on. So Man City are the only team that Draft Hound suggests are more likely than not to keep a clean sheet. They've got 58% clean sheet odds against Nottingham Forest. Newcastle 45 against Sheffield United, Brentford on 40, same as Crystal Palace, Brighton on 38, Liverpool on 38, Man United 36, Arsenal, Chelsea and Wolves on 33, and the rest of the teams there, if you can avoid starting their defenders, I think you should. A quick look then at my top transfer targets for this week, and first up I've got the Newcastle defenders. Now, I don't really think there's a standout goalkeeper in the game at the moment, and I think Nick Pope will emerge as that over the coming game weeks. I know he's 5.5 million, but in terms of a goalkeeping option in FPL, he ticks all the boxes because not only does he play for what were the second best defence last season in terms of expected goals conceded and the defence that conceded the fewest goals, he also gets saves bonus quite regularly as well. So he might be 5.5 million, but Newcastle have a fantastic fixture run coming up. So I think he could be, well, the best goalkeeper going forward. Botman, 4.5 million centre-back. I think he's a shoo-in if you're looking to get rid of someone like, well, if you've kept Gabriel all this long. I think that's the transfer I'm going to make, for example. Share at 5 million. You sort of get what you pay for with each of these 3 Newcastle defenders, basically. I wouldn't recommend picking Dan Burn because I just think he's too much of a rotation risk. Botman, 4.5 million. Bargain basement defender. Realistically, only going to get clean sheet points from him. Fabian Schär, 5 million. Offers a bit more attacking threat than Botman does. And then Trippier, obviously the best of all worlds. 6.5 million though you're going to pay for him. But he can get goals, assists, and obviously the same amount of clean sheets as the rest of the guys. Now the next player I wanted to talk about is Carlton Morris of Luton. Now if you're still sitting on João Pedro, over the next few weeks, particularly if you're looking to wildcard in game week 8 or 9, like most I think FPL players will be, I think Morris is a great transfer in. He's got Wolves at home. Then in his double game week, he's got Everton away and Burnley away. Now, you could have gone for the Burnley striker for this double game week, but Lyle Foster got sent off against Nottingham Forest, so he's not going to be playing in that double game week. So Morris, I think, is the best option to get into your team for that double game week. Is he the best captain, though? I'm not sure. I think we'll wait and see as we get towards game week 7 if I'm going to put the armband on him. But I think it's worth bringing him in, particularly at 5.5 million, and I'd say he's putting up, you know, semi-decent numbers for a 5.5 million striker. But what I am seeing is that he's causing Premier League defences some real problems. He's a big lump of a guy, he's good in the air, and he really does have a good hold-up game. And I think that could cause any Premier League defence problems. I think just in general as well, they got a great fixture on. Obviously, Wolves at home is a fantastic fixture. Then Everton away, Burnley at home in a double game week is brilliant. He's nailed to start for Luton. There's no competition for his spot, and he'll take the penalties. So for the next 3 game weeks, I think he's probably one of the best strikers you can go for. And finally then, I'm going to talk about James Ward-Prowse. I think he's an absolutely fantastic signing for West Ham and suits their team down to the ground. His set-piece taking ability obviously means he can score against any team, so whilst they might have Liverpool Anfield coming up, he can always get himself on a free kick and score it. But the way that West Ham play, the big centre-backs that they've got, or just the big team in general that they've got, his set-piece deliveries can mean goals from pretty much any angle. And yeah, just in general, he seems to be adding some more open play goals to his game. He could be the penalty taker for West Ham as well. I'm expecting that with the quality of players that West Ham have along their front line now, obviously the likes of Kudus, Bowen, and then you'd imagine Antonio plays up front. The current West Ham penalty taker is Benrahma. I don't see a way that Benrahma gets in that West Ham team at the moment, certainly for the Liverpool away game. Ward-Prowse took the penalties for Southampton. He's obviously a dead ball specialist, as we see from the free kick, so Could he be the penalty taker for West Ham when Ben Rama's not on the pitch? And of course, at Southampton, he certainly had the accolade, and I imagine this will continue at West Ham. He had the accolade of playing 90 minutes every game, 38 games a season. So you never have to worry about this guy being benched, or certainly he didn't when he played for West Ham. Obviously, Southampton, sorry. We'll see how it goes for West Ham, but that's the track record that he's got. All right, and that's the end of the video. Hopefully there I gave you all the information you need going into Game Week 6. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like rating and subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just there, and I'll catch you in my next video.